Stellar Blade seems to have cool gameplay, but a messy story from what I've seen. Okay, so here's the thing, right? I haven't talked about much about Stellar Blade because I've tried to just play the game, explore as much as possible, find all the cool things, do most of the side missions. And so the only problem I have with Stellar Blade is that and I think most people they mistake the story being bad or something, aside from the translation actually just not being up to par. That is the biggest issue, I think. I think the localization for the game wasn't very good. At the end of the day, I don't think the story is bad necessarily. Uninspired, sure, you can sort of guess where things are going pretty much from the get-go, but I don't think the story is bad. I don't even think the characters are bad. I just think the localization and the translation is not awful, but it just does not land a lot of the time. But like Eve has this line where she's talking to an NPC and she starts off the conversation saying, "Oh, you're not very likable," and that girl hasn't really said anything yet, so it's like, what the hell, where did that come from? And that is you can obviously see that is a problem with localization, because the game obviously is made in South Korea mostly. It's made by a South Korean studio, and so they primarily made the game, you know, going from a South Korean perspective. And so when they translate it to English, they've just translated it really, and so it doesn't really work well. But I don't think the story is bad. I think people are just mistaking those two things. You know, it's fine if you think the story is bad. You know, that's a matter of perspective, but I personally don't think so. I think it's pretty interesting. I like the world building, especially if you do side quests. Like if you just beeline the game like Charlie did, you know, Penguin Zero, you know, Moist Critical. Obviously, some people are gonna like him will feel like the story isn't very good, but that's because you haven't explored all the other venues, because there's a lot of interesting stuff besides that when you explore the world. So I actually think it's pretty good, but a lot of people just, you know, either got the game because of the suits, because of Eve, or they just wanted to see what the story was all about and just play through once. But I think that's a mistake. I think you should really like explore everything that you can, because there are some really interesting stuff to find in the game that builds the story up. And I like the atmosphere, the fucking music, man. God damn. I don't think I've heard a soundtrack that just delivers banger after banger after banger after banger. Like, I was hyped throughout my entire playthrough because the music is so fucking good. I swear to God. There's horror inspiration, there's like EDM, like, you know, electronic dance music. There's portions of the game that remind me of Mass Effect, like there's very like synth-like music. Goddamn, Stellar Blade like had me fist pumping all the time. It's insane. I'm desperately waiting for the soundtrack to drop, because I'm just gonna keep listening to that shit all the time. Stellar Blade has the highest Metacritic user score of 2024 so far in 9.2. Now, I don't know whether I trust this user score for now, because this has a tendency to happen whenever like stuff goes on, whenever there's like drama going on, which we know there's been a lot surrounding Stellar Blade. So I don't know, you know, 9.3, I would give it, honestly, I would give it a 9. I just like the game that much. I've had so much fun with this game. It's definitely well worth my money, and because I've explored like basically everything in the game, so like side quests and, you know, and I've tried to care as much as I can about all the things that's going on in the game and pay attention. So I would give it a 9 for sure. You know, at first I was like at 8, but as soon as I was finished with it or had like explored everything else, I was like, yeah, no, this is actually a 9. I like it so much. And because I understand that the problem, and I can definitely hear the problem is with the localization and the translation, but I can see that there's okay story elements in it. So yeah, 9, sure, absolutely. And they don't underhandedly push microtransactions into the game right off the get-go. You know, it's not like they're hiding, oh, we're not going to push any microtransactions in the game, and then they do it. They just delivered a really good, high-quality game with a lot of stuff to do. And I just appreciate that. And that's why it's a 9 in my book, because I just think that the dev team deserves having that score, because I think they've really shown themselves to be a respectable company, Shift Up.